it was a McLaren 2-3. It was Oscar Piastri's first proper podium. He obviously got that sprint podium in Belgium.
Oh, yeah.
But Oscar Piastri, P3, bit of a big gap to Lando, but you got to say, Oscar Piastri once again delivering like the levels he's doing. Obviously, quicker than Lando. First time he's ever been at Suzuka as well. Did struggle on the hard tyre in the race, but
he's still a rookie.
This kid's got it.
This is what's
Luca De Meo's got to be crying into his cereal.
Yeah,
because that was one hell of a flop. Letting him go.
Alpine. It's actually crazy. I think that's what it is as well. Like he's delivered such a good race weekend from start to finish as well. Like well-rounded, good result in the race. Incredible qualifying session, beating Lando, his more experienced teammate, and at a track he's never been to before today.
Yeah.
Not today, before this weekend. Never driven there at all. Had to learn the entire track. It's so impressive, man. And he's so consistently consistent.
Brilliant.
Yeah, he just doesn't crash.
From a rookie is
actually
pretty. Yeah, I mean, he had that. He had the incident in Australia. No, sorry, not Australia. In Canada when he hit the wall. Obviously, hit the wall within Zandvoort, which then caused Ricciardo to hit him and get the injury.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
practice as well.
yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. That's when you want to be crashing in practice.
Yeah, like we're trying to find a needle in a haystack, trying to like think of his errors. Whilst with someone like Sargent, it's like which weekend are you looking at? You know what I mean?
Pick.
No, listen, he's done fantastic. He makes me so excited for the future, and in a weird way, I actually think there was all this talk about Lando, where is he going to go, Red Bull or not. I actually think Zach Brown is like, even if Lando leaves, we're fine. Like we've got the next one already there. So it's it makes me really excited for the future. I can't wait to see how he's going to develop, how him and Lando are next season as well. And again, like Niran said on the live stream, this driver lineup, you said it's like you think it's the strongest one potentially. Like even now maybe.
I think it's definitely
top two,
I think it's top two in the way that it operates together. Because I think obviously, and we'll get onto this in a second. Or a little bit about Mercedes. Obviously, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton is a great driver lineup, but they showed today that as individuals, they might not be able to work together consistently without falling out or without causing problems during races. I think Oscar Piastri is so laid back and chilled out. Obviously, there was a little bit of tension when Lando was right behind him and was like, oh, we're going to ruin our race here. We're going to finish behind George. But within 2 laps, Oscar was like, well, if I'm slower, I'll dip out the way. He's still a rookie at the end of the day.
I don't think he fought him that hard when he kind of knew that it was over.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think as they're functioning now, I think this driver lineup is top 2.
Yeah, and I think even today kind of proved that Lando still has that edge over a race day. Yesterday, I think he probably could have secured P2 instead of Oscar, but yeah, I mean, it was like what? A couple hundredths, 300s or something.
Close,
so,
wasn't it, I think,
but then today Lando proved that he's that step above, which I think, Oscar still has a bit of work to do in terms of closing that gap on a Sunday, which, at the end of the day, that's where the points are scored.
And I mean, I'm just looking now, actually, because I wanted to double check. Lando moves up to 7th in the championship, ahead of George Russell. And the thing about now, if that McLaren was this good all season, then it would be no big deal, whatever. But think about how bad that McLaren was for the first. Austria was what, round 7, 6? Like,
was it even Austria where he
got the upgrade?
Okay,
yeah, he got the big upgrade in Austria. Like that's incredible. Lando up to P7. I mean, he's only 20 points behind Charles as well. Oscar Piastri, I mean, he's 57 points, so quite a bit further behind. But it's not over. But for McLaren to get Aston Martin, no doubt about it.
Definitely. Lando's, I think, the highest non-Red Bull driver with like P2s. He has the most P2s. That's not Red Bull, I think it's 4 at the moment.
And they basically started in Silverstone.
Since Austria, I think Lando's the second highest point scoring driver, potentially. Maybe it's him or Perez. I think he's overtook Checo now, but that's crazy.
And look, you raise a good point, Aldas. I think, in terms of future-proofing McLaren, because, we know that Red Bull are very interested in Lando. Lando's contract ends is it the end of 25? I think, because Oscar's got his new contract to the end of 26. Lando's got his, I think, to the end of 25. We know that Red Bull are very interested in Lando. Lando would be a huge commercial as well as a quality driver to come in. He's got a great relationship with Max. If Max does retire in 2028, then Lando could be a good driver to get in and get up to speed and then take that mantle. McLaren are doing everything they need to right now to give Lando confidence in the project. Certainly more confidence he would have had at the start of the year. But I think it does come down to and again, we'll get on to Mercedes, but McLaren just need to... There was a little bit of friction where, Lando thought Oscar was going to let him by and he didn't let him by. There's a little bit feisty there to an extent, but I think it's always going to be that way when you've got two top quality drivers.
Yeah. I think for that specific scenario, it was more like heat of the moment. Lando kind of just said, or was expecting Oscar to let him by, but it was kind of a bit of a misunderstanding when, Oscar let him by eventually. But I will say though, to your point about, him potentially going to Red Bull, Lando's in a really good place because he has his many different options available to him.
He's a driver in demand, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if that McLaren stays competitive as well.
Yeah.
He's got options where he can just stay where he is.
Yeah,
and go somewhere else. Like his stock is high as well.
Definitely. And, from how he's been performing the past few races, like Singapore, his defense against the Mercedes, I think, and there was that, I can't remember exactly what lap it was, but George was really, really attacking. And that was the moment where I think he won, Sainz won the race and he secured P2 for himself. And then again, Silverstone was another good example when he was defending against Lewis. And he secured that P2 as well. So he's really coming into his own, I think, this season. And it's exciting. I think eventually, if McLaren do get a car that's capable of challenging Red Bull, which I think a lot of people have been backing them to do, to be there with them in 24. So we'll wait and see. But I think he's ready.
I think, to be honest, Lando, to me, he's been on this level since at least 2020 because I always go back to it. Midway through that season, after Hungary, so that's literally before the summer break, Lando was third in the championship, only behind Lewis and Max. That's crazy. Checo was behind him, Valtteri was behind him. And again, this isn't 2 or 3 races into a season. Like Lando, midway through in that 2021 McLaren was third. So I think he's been on this level for at least 3 years. And actually, just really quickly on the teammate relationship, I think what happened in Monza, because there was a little bit of, I think, backwards and forwards. Actually, they collided a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oscar and Lando. And I think Andrea Stella actually, I think, had words with them, really got them in a room and basically just that's, you're not above the team. You need to sort this out. So I think it was important for Andrea Stella to kind of get that in early in terms of get that authority that he's the boss and, you're not above the team. So I think they have a bit more respect than the Mercedes guys.
Remember, Lando did, 11-10 science in his first season in Formula One as well. Lando kind of came in as a rookie and hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's too much to expect of a rookie. And again, we've seen that from Oscar this year, that he's come in and been pretty close to one of the most highly regarded drivers. I do think, Piastri's got that slightly longer contract now than Lando, and I'm sure he's being paid handsomely to keep him, to lock him down, because McLaren took a punt ultimately on Oscar. He'd had a year off. He'd done great in junior formulas, but he had a year on the sidelines, which could have negatively affected him. But now...
It's the expensive punt as well.
An expensive punt, but it's... I mean, if they can catch Aston Martin, that's even more bank.
Probably pays it back already.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider where they could be for next season if they continue their career.
I think one place in the constructors is 10, 12 million.
It's about 12 million, yeah.
Yeah, about 12 million, which is crazy. I'm 100% Piastri's buyout, whatever it was, whatever deal they came with Alpine, is not that. So, yeah, no, they've got their money's back for sure. And you were saying, Luca Di Maio, Otmar Zafna as well, they're all probably crying in their cereal. And, that's what happens when you doubt Oscar Piastri, clearly.
Mm-hmm. When you're talking about Lando in his first season, when he outqualified Sainz 11-10, when you have that natural speed, it's only really a matter of time before you then develop your racecraft and you start, you get better at tire management, get better at managing a stint, you get better at all of these different things. And I think it's going to be the same. We're going to see a similar type of progression with Oscar.
That's what it always looks like to me. Because I think this isn't the first race where I've been Oscar's done well in terms of position, but he's been quite off Lando. But it's literally, the pace is there, obviously, in qualifying. He's beaten him a couple times now. He's started second on the grid this weekend. But I think it's just that, tyre management, just general consistency, experience and whatever. Once he's had that for 2 seasons,
because over,
world beater.
Over an hour and a half race, if you're just a fraction of a % off every lap, over one lap, you can let that, you can pull it all together, but to do it lap after lap, that's where obviously Lando's experience is going to show. But
stringing together one lap is not the same as an entire Grand Prix. But Oscar will learn. Again, he's still a rookie, he's still learning. He's come to a track, he doesn't know, what the tire deck is like. He's never raced around there before. So still plenty to learn.